Hello and welcome to the Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix. And joining us right here is the one and only Sharon Marie White. Sharon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you doing, Kayden?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. So, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself to get started here.
Oh gosh. So I've been involved in music a very long time, not to give my age away, but it's been quite the journey. I started out at like 14, 15, played in a
Mhm.
rock band, like all my high school years, and then in the fast forward to the 90s, I switched to country music. And because not I think the 90s was like one of the best times for country music, right? You'll probably
Mhm.
agree with me there. I mean, you're young maybe to
I'm
remember, but
young, but from what I've heard, yes, I would have to
yes.
say so.
Yeah, and then so I switched to country, and we played a lot of weekends in a country band, and got married and had three beautiful children. So it was always very, very busy as well, and because music was always kind of a sideline, just kind of a weekend thing, but always stayed really busy. And then also in the 90s is kind of when I started writing my own music. And then I would, bring the songs to the guys in the band, and they would add their parts on, and then we would put them in the set list when we would go out and play. And that was a lot of fun to see people's reaction, when you put your music out there and they get up and they dance to it and they're singing
Mhm.
along or whatever. That was pretty cool. So that kind of, I think, got the ball rolling for me that yeah, maybe I should, keep trying to write songs and do that kind of stuff. And then we moved um from another province to Alberta,
Mhm.
and I didn't do music for quite some time, kind of on and off. And then just prior to the pandemic, there was a new country station opened up in our town, and we had invested in some recording equipment. So we'd recorded a couple of songs, and I talked to the radio station and I asked if they would, be interested in maybe playing one of my tunes, and they reached out and said, yeah, come on in for an interview and we'd love to meet you. So that really got the ball rolling because it got me excited to get back to music and recording, and so that's kind of, yeah, where it's all gone for the last 2 years. It's just been phenomenal, the response I'm getting.
Mhm. That's awesome. So, tell us a little bit about your latest one called "Help Me Fly." Tell us a little bit about that song.
That one, it kind of speaks to I have so many people in my life, my parents, I had aunties
Mhm.
and uncles and people in my life that have unfortunately not here anymore. But I still feel like they're around and they're still saying, you can do this. Keep doing what you're doing. And so it's kind of in their memory, and just thinking about all the people in my life that when they were here, they really
Mhm.
encouraged me.
Mhm. That's awesome. That's just like, the family aspect, remembering that, even though they're not really here, but they're still with you in your heart. So that I agree with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's hard to put that into words. So I
Mhm.
hope I've kind of done a decent job of portraying that in the song.
Mhm. Mhm. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you have like a goal set for yourself in those times?
Well, I think for me right now, it's I have such a back catalog of songs, and it's funny because I have songs that aren't totally finished, and I've been
Mhm.
also doing some getting some co-writing in there, which is really cool. Um, but just to build up my own catalog, and I'm finding the old songs are kind of being replaced by new ones because it's almost like you have this invigoration of excitement, and new songs are coming to me, which is really interesting. So I think I just would really like to build up my catalog of music. My I think my end goal, because I don't know if touring is in the cards for me, but to have other people record my music, I think that would be another dream come true for me.
That would be awesome.
It would.
So, what advice would you give someone, Sharon, that might want to start doing music? Because I know you stopped for a long time and then you kind of got back into it. What advice would you give someone that might want to get into it or has done it and wants to get in, but not sure really how to jump in with this day and age?
Well, I think the beauty of it nowadays is if you do jump in, there are so many places that you can
Mhm.
that will play your music now. When I was in the 90s, Caden, I would send out my little cassette record,
Mhm.
my cassettes to record companies, and of course, you never heard anything back because that really wasn't the
Mhm.
way to do it. But now, I mean, if you do, and you got to do decent production and recording for sure, so you're going to have to spend a little money doing that. But I find if you do that and you put it, I just find I'm putting it out to the world, and I'm getting really good feedback. I mean, and so many presenters like yourself
Mhm.
are welcoming independent musicians. So I first and foremost, I would say don't give up if this is something you want to do, because um I'm a little, well, I'll say a little bit older without
Mhm.
giving my age away, but I never thought this would happen for me now at
Mhm.
this stage of my life. So absolutely don't give up. As far as being a musician, I think it's important to hone your craft, and whether it's piano or guitar or
Mhm.
whatever instrument, to keep learning as well.
Mhm. So what does a typical day to day look like for you? I know you mentioned to me before we started that you have another job.
Yes, we work in the oil and gas industry, so I
Mhm.
also have to help with that, doing data entry and that sort of
Mhm.
thing. And then, like I said, we're on the road a lot. And most spring, summer, we're in the next province over where we are right now.
Mhm.
And we work out of our RV trailer. And so that's kind of neat. I always bring my guitar, so I'm always working on music. So a typical day, if I'm not doing my real job,
Mhm.
is checking social media, which is like gone really crazy, and I
Mhm.
wasn't really good at it. So I'm just trying to get better at that. I
Mhm.
try to respond to people that reach out to me. Every time you put out a new song, of course, you're getting played on radio stations.
Mhm.
I like to reach out to the DJs and the radio presenters and thank them. Quite often you're put on voting
Mhm.
polls, which I am right now, and I have three or four. So I put those out and try to get folks
Mhm.
to vote for me. And I think it just keeps you relevant in the game, right? It keeps your name out there all the time. And I think that's really
Mhm.
important. So releasing music every 3 to 4 months, or whatever we can kind of
Mhm.
afford to do, I think that is important to stay relevant.
Yeah, it is definitely for sure, and especially with this, day and age with the technology, it's just so different. For you, it was a little different for me, I'm younger, so I mean, I've kinda grown up with this kinda stuff, you know? So
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's been quite the like, my husband is wonderful at all this stuff, and he records my vocals in our little
Mhm.
studio, and I do live streams, and he's got like three
Mhm.
cameras going, and I mean he absolutely loves that stuff. So I'm very fortunate that I married such a techie guy, and he enjoys all of that stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Mhm. There you go, you have someone in your life that can help you with all your tech problems.
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome. What do you like doing outside of music for hobbies and interests, Sharon?
I'm also a visual artist, so
Hmm.
I do paintings. I do pet portraits, flowers, and landscapes. Although I have to admit, the music's really been taking over, but I
Mhm.
feel this pull to go back to my art as well, because it's such a calming. It's kind of the
Mhm.
opposite of the music. It's very calming and meditative to sit down and
Mhm.
create art. So I need to get back to do that as well.
Mhm. When was the last time you, did a painting?
Okay, now that is a good question. Probably a good year ago, I would think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Sharon, is there a message, one message that you would like to give your fans or anyone that is listening or watching this that might be new to you?
Um, I think I would just go back to, if you have a dream or something that you want to do, I think taking that first step is really important. And to believe in yourself. And then as you put yourself out there, it is
Mhm.
amazing how people respond, and they want you to succeed. So, because I've had people say, "Oh, I'm too shy, I'm too this, I'm too that," and I and it is a scary thing to do, but it's so worthwhile when you do it. So and believe in yourself too. You've got to believe in yourself.
Hmm. Where can people find you on social media platforms if they want to find you, Sharon, and give you a follow?
I have a website, www.sharonmariewhite.com, and all of my links are on there. So Spotify and YouTube, iTunes, Amazon Music, all of those, all of those links are on there. Come join me on my Sharon Marie White music page on Facebook, and I'm very active on Facebook. And if you ever want to reach out to me, on Messenger and just have a chat, I'm always around. So yeah, I'd love for folks to join me on this journey because I do consider it a journey. And yeah, I really appreciate everyone's support.
Awesome. And Sharon, is there anything else that I forgot that you'd like to share with us before we go?
No, I don't think so. And like I said, I just want to thank you for supporting independent musicians. It means the world to us to get our music out to the world. So it means a lot.
You are most welcome, Sharon. And again, I would like to thank Sharon Murray White for joining us right here on the Kayden Gordon Show, today's Best Country Mix. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Take care.